Bubba's. It's taken Mommy a bit of a time to reach out, but I can assure you that the time I've taken to step back was the best decision for all of us. I chose not to return your calls until I was ready. Clearly, neither of you showed any interest in chatting with me until Dottie dropped the bomb on you that I removed my consent from Jersey College for Girls. So I chose to no longer waste time having these just painful one-sided conversations with you that involved both of you desperately and nervously trying to convey your need for an immediate departure from the UK, leaving behind your lifelong home, your beloved schools, your teachers, your friends, and even your own mom. I didn't need to hear you repeat the 22 reasons that you needed to move. Nor the ridiculous idea that I'm trying to hurt you by preventing you from going. That's absurd and incredible, but that's where we are these days. Okay, so as I told Daddy and all of our 7 one-to-one chats last month, by the way, Daddy is quoted as saying we had 2. So fortunately, your mom has clearly documented all of our meetings for clarity. So in all 7 of those discussions, I stressed, every single discussion, I stressed that any future conversations about relocating to Jersey was both inappropriate, illogical, and not the priority at the moment, not the priority at all. And why was it not the priority? When you have both so thoroughly and completely have been promised a fairy tale, do you have any ideas why that's so inappropriate and just completely Looney Tunes? I know you don't think this is funny. I know that you feel like this decision is life-altering for you, but I also bet you didn't know that I love Jersey, yeah? And there was a time when Daddy and I temporarily moved there. So firstly, let me be clear, because you're waiting for this, let me be very clear. Never, ever, 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 ever will I allow my 2 young children to relocate without myself positioned in close proximity to you for a lifelong of, motherly support, love, not to mention providing my numerous unique skill sets, my infinite capacity to love, both you and everyone else in my path. And I know that as I have since your first breath, I know that my priority is to ensure the quality of your mental, physical, and emotional growth. Okay? That's my role in life. Okay? So never ever, just so won't be any discussion or mistaken, is there ever going to be a discussion of a move anywhere on this planet, including Jersey, that doesn't involve conversation with me. An open discussion about where we want to move, where is best for our children. There is none of the other aforementioned things. So, if it were ever to occur, it will always involve both your mom and your dad, regardless of whatever nonsense your daddy and grandpa have come up with. I can't even imagine. I can assure you that a conversation about moving somewhere as lovely as Jersey would have been fully embraced and seriously considered by me had And this is the reason that discussion is inappropriate and like illogical Looney Tunes, is that had the blinding reality of the imbalance in our shared parenting been dealt with properly, I do blame myself. I blame myself for continuing to hold on, postpone, and just, pray that somehow it would come together, because I did not want to involve the both of you in what's said to be just a hideous experience in going to the family courts, to get the judge to, make a law of who sees you and all this kind of stuff. So I was hoping for a miracle that Daddy would come to his senses and somehow, whatever. Had these things been addressed 2 years ago, almost, pursued, respected, and then upheld by the grown-up that you now live with, all of the pain and the responsibility could have been removed from both of your shoulders. The whole topic would have been done and dusted long ago, and successfully, amicably. It also would have added about $1 million to your inheritance. I'm just saying, blame and accusations, all that crap. I have done none of that. And I do believe that it gets people nowhere, but you kind of have to know. I'm guessing now you just sort of have to know, because now it's Looney Tunes crazy, okay? With my, just sacrificing my every ounce of energy and love and sanity just to try to help you guys avoid the truth of all of it. Anyways, so had we established a legally binding shared parenting agreement, quite simple, it's easily achieved, billions of families do it every year, through this amazing mediation they do between two parents, as opposed to our 2 young children who are disillusioned, and sort of tricked into making their own decisions. And clearly that was overshadowed by having some crazy false information fed to you about Mom. So anyways, if that had been done, which could have been done so easily and so quickly and so efficiently and so gently for a child-focused divorce, we probably would already be living in Jersey, and there's a chance it may have actually been harmonious. I'm just saying. Okay, so always remember that when you have resentment, this is an example that I hope, if anything, you take from Daddy and I, that any kind of displaced resentment, greed, selfishness, just holding on to venom, it can literally destroy everything in its path. So we had this sorted without all the crazy stuff, hurtful, all that stuff. Had Daddy just accepted and agreed to accept the help and sensible advice of our experienced mediator, whom you both would have loved, by the way. He was a really cool guy, older guy. Well, we would have been in a very different place today. Probably a place that none of us can even imagine at this point. So, when I accidentally discovered Daddy's plan to illegally relocate you both to Jersey with him, of course, I was just beside myself, but I gave every possible ounce of my creative thought and open-mindedness to how I could prevent him from basically extinguishing my existence as your mom altogether. So and you may have wondered this before, so now I'll be able to explain. So out of desperation and a last resort, I made a radical, painful pivot in my approach with Daddy, right? I chose to just like walk in the door. It's like walking in the door when somebody's robbing a bank and everybody's holding a gun, and I just walk in with like, an ice cream cone. It's basically my approach with Daddy. And I decided to make every possible effort for him, give him everything he wants, and just ask him to agree to a ceasefire, obviously for your benefit, and so you're not in the middle. And any further disappointment, just like the whole Jersey thing, them building you up, and you haven't been there your whole life. Like, Coco, you went there, you probably don't even remember it. No interest in family, no interest in ever going anywhere, ever, or embracing family. And then to suddenly submerge you into, what's actually a really nice group of people. So it's just cruel. So I prayed. I don't pray. I haven't prayed since probably 8th grade, but I prayed that if I could somehow beg him to restore just the truth, just the basic truth, without, being in trouble or having a lower hand. It's like, just be honest, restore the truth about me, just a simple truth of me, that I still had a tiny chance of saving our relationship. That's literally, with Ava, I feel like our relationship just doesn't exist. And I know, because I'm significantly older and much more experienced, that losing that fundamental, just endless source of love and support and everything that a mother provides, and my capacity is, as you know, almost infinite. You're asking for a lifetime of pain, I'm just saying, like, why, okay, like I was like some crazy psycho, or I don't know, maybe, but probably not even then would somebody just own their mother, because they just know it's your mother. So I agreed to everything that Daddy asked in our 7 meetings, including my written permission to the head of JCG that gave permission to them so that you could both be considered for enrollment. It didn't mean that we had agreed that you were moving there. It just meant that we're going to do a lot of stuff together, Daddy and I. We're going to try to solve a lot of problems, but for now we're on a time crunch, and so I extended that, sent over a bunch of documents, my marriage certificate, stuff like that, and got every single thing that he asked. I got it done, and within a week we had a discussion about specifically Ava, because we know how I can't even explain how just completely off the reservation she is with me, and there's literally, you can make a list, call me, text me, fax me. There's just nothing that I have ever thought of, attempted, or would ever in my whole entire life do to hurt you. I would always, which has suffered quite a lot, discipline has suffered so badly because I've become afraid of you. Because I just don't know where it all comes from. But I kind of lost my ability to mother you because it was just so much that was happening, and you turn up and then you disappear forever, and then there would be like this and that, and it wasn't your fault. Never ever was it, Ava. Ever, ever, ever. It was just a change that I will probably never know of different fears that you had, and based on what you were told, I just don't know. But given the severity of our relationship, I thought that if I thought that my hope was using such a radical approach with Daddy, not giving any resistance or arguments or anything like that he clearly dislikes, he would agree to sit down as a family and give a clear and honest explanation, not like in any way an admission of guilt or he was bad or any of that, because we all make mistakes. But I would have done anything just to have him sit down, because nothing I say matters. It doesn't matter if I showed you like a picture of me with President Trump. There's just like anything that, no matter how clear, no matter how true, no matter how much, overwhelming evidence, nothing that I've said has seemed to make a difference in terms of your trust and the way that you sort of, this kind of new way that you perceive me. So my thought was that I get down on my hands and knees and beg, and truly beg, and just for him to just sit down. It's a great life lesson. I make mistakes too, but I will tell you that I made like 1/1,000,000th of those mistakes that he has done, because it didn't help me, but I was just adamant that I would not involve you in the conversations of mine and Daddy's divorce. And didn't work out for me. It was for the best reason, but it didn't work out for me at all. So my hope was that Daddy would give a clear and honest explanation of the crazy events that led him to make all these, like to falsely and cruelly portray me as a terrible, dishonest, mentally ill human being, which I don't know. I can't think of any other. I mean, even the absolute crystal clear truth hasn't had any effect on you. So my only hope is that somehow, I don't know, that might allow you to just let go of all this. I can't even describe what they are, because I don't know specifically. I just know that it's really bad. So I thought we could talk to you together, and we could present it not like as Daddy's confession, but just as a great life lesson for both of you at an early age, to know that that kind of those kind of dark feelings and resentment and anger and greed and all that stuff can lead a person to do. Yeah, we've all, and you will do it, and everyone has done it, including myself. But if he could just somehow just help to reverse those years of just easily told lies and impressions, and remove your fears based on those untruths, perhaps there was still hope. So let me be very clear. Until the reckoning and the honesty and the absolute clearly illustrated concept that I have nearly been completely erased from your life based on the accumulation of all of these ongoing lies and fears, that it's illegal, and I'm not ever going to do it again, ever. Every single thing I did, every move I made, however skeptical I look back on, I was trying everything to sort of keep it away from you, and not show you how it was affecting me, because I didn't want you guys to suffer at our expense. So that didn't work, clearly. So I figured if all of those lies that created this sort of foundation of fear and mistrust and dislike of Mommy, then surely if those can be unpicked, then there was a chance of reshaping our trust and love and forever bond together. So that is the reason that I will not talk about, I'm not even going to say "juh." I'm not going to go as far as to even say the word, because we are so far from that happening, because it's just not even on the table. And I'm so sorry that it's not, because honestly, I think I would love to live there. But until there is a reckoning of either a collaboration, direct collaboration and reckoning between the two of us, and things are done and dusted, and I am serious, or it's gonna, if there's no other choice, I cannot give up. I can't give up on my own children, and it's gonna get ugly. I'm gonna have no other choice. I now have no choice but to go back to the lawyers for the final whatever hearing, and I will have no choice. There isn't anyone that can help me. Nobody. There isn't anyone that can help me, because it's not your responsibility to be convinced of this, or listen to me or him or whatever. And as Coco, you told me by the car last time I saw you and Sheen, I appreciated it. But you said you don't believe a single thing that I say or Daddy. You just kind of, I don't know if you said this, but it's just, in other words, you just kind of go with the flow. You try not to get too worked up about anything. And although that is like maybe one of the most painful things for a parent to think, because basically what you said interprets as, I don't actually have a parent I can trust. That's up there with the most devastating things you could ever hear from your child. But I'm going to say that I appreciate that you're clever and sensible enough to know that it's a no-win situation, and that the most important thing that you could focus on is your school and your friends and, your hair and stuff, because that is your right. You're not supposed to be putting Ava to bed and solving problems and none of that stuff. It's not your role. And, you're not alone. It's just the person that, has been doing this your whole life has just been, extinguished. So my light is not going off. I am not ever gonna let this happen, because it's just, it's absurd, but it's also just, it's sick, So I love you. I understand that explaining to you 60,000 ways of what the truth is or how this happened, it's just a waste of time, because the only thing that you need from me right now is to know that your future is built on solid ground. Okay? So what I wanted just to remind you is, the last thing is that you don't have to worry about going to Marymount, Coco, and Ava, you don't have to worry about going to St. Catherine's or wherever it is that you want to go, because this is not going to get solved. Even if he hires every lawyer in London, there is no way any judge or any sensible group of people will ever view me as some kind of a risk or some kind of a detriment to your. It's just absurd. So what I'm saying is that stuff takes years and years to go through the courts. So bottom line is, I'm so sorry that that fairy tale is such a disappointment. I'm really, really sorry. And like I said, if things get, I don't know, somehow miracles happen and things get sorted, and I'll take you over there as many times as you want. I quite like those people. I quite like his family over there. So I love you both. I have a couple more probably of these I'm going to work on in the next few days, But I just think this way I can communicate with you and not get really emotional, and also not have to just kind of like brace myself for the endless lists of blame that I'm perpetrating on you, because that's just not the case. That's not the case. I will protect you for the rest of your life with my life, okay? I love you both.